Welcome to episode 68 of the Loane Hockey Podcast. Where today we're going to be talking about Alex Ovechkin from the Washington Capitals. Ever since being drafted by the Capitals way back long ago, he's been a dynamic goal scorer and he's been one of the NHL's most prolific scorers for a very long time. And no one's really challenged him when it comes to goal scoring. No one's really been able to live up to his mark in terms of how he's been able to score at the rate he's been able to score at and how productive he's been, especially throughout the 2010s. It was really hard to find a better goal scorer than him. And the amount of speed that he played with through the tens, the amount of skill, the amount of flair, the amount of ability off the rush, he could really burn guys in so many different ways and in so many different directions with his speed and his flair and his ability to score in many different ways. And with his dynamic goal scoring, because obviously that's the main pinpoint when you talked about his game. It's really nothing else. It's mainly his goal scoring and how he's able to score and the tactics he's able to score at. And obviously, he's well renowned for being a goal scorer who can score from his office, so to speak, on the power play and how well he can contribute from there and how effective he is at contributing goals from that area. And a lot of players and a lot of teammates will often try to get him the puck there. And it's so weird because when you really think about it, how he's been able to score there so many times and somehow he still continues to do it. And teams know that it's his area, it's his office, and yet somehow he continues to do it. It really is remarkable how he's been able to keep up his rate, his scoring rate. And obviously, last year, a little bit of a down year in scoring per se, but obviously, he's getting older in age. And at the same time, he has to deal with a little bit of difficulties within his body, trying to adjust that as he ages to make sure he can try to continue his scoring marks and obviously trying to beat Gretzky's record. But with his scoring ability, his ability to score in tight as well, and how well he maneuvers, and especially in the early stages of his career, you saw a lot more flair and natural skill and natural flair in tight spaces with his ability to score. And that goal that he had against the Coyotes is a really good example where he went forehand and backhand, falling on his back, and went around his body and did a bunch of different things to score at an open net from almost the goal line way back long ago. So when you're talking about his goal scoring, what really stands out to me is the velocity in his shot and the power, the natural prowess in his shot, and he gets it off very quickly. And this goes for one timers, this goes for wrist shots, this goes for snapshots, this goes for slap shots. This goes for every single type of shot that he's able to produce and how he's able to produce it with such velocity because when he shoots, it's off stick immediately. That's a rare ability to have. And obviously, he's a natural goal scorer. He's had it for a very long time, and he's had that natural scoring ability since he was very young. So being able to develop his shot, being able to develop his hands, and being able to develop a faster twitch in his hands so that way he can release pucks faster with faster velocity has allowed him to accelerate his goal scoring game. And even over the years in the NHL, his playmaking game slightly got better as a result of it because his ability to find open space, find open lanes, ability to draw guys to him, ability to be a threat when he has the puck, also linked together to his off puck play in terms of being able to develop spaces for himself as a playmaker. And obviously, a shot first player like that isn't most well renowned to be a playmaker and a pass first player. They're going to have the mentality of trying to shoot as often as they can. It's not necessarily a selfish thing, it's more of an instinctual thing. So with Ovechkin, he's thinking shoot almost all the time. It's actually a good thing when you think about it because sometimes players have a tendency to pass a little bit too much. And when they pass or they overpass, then the play's gone and the play is dead. So by Ovechkin having that shot first mentality, he's able to really maneuver and be able to get shots off with pace, purpose, accuracy, precision. And he's able to create those not only velocity, but be able to actual create actual shots on net and be able to create shooting opportunities that are more quality and from higher quality areas. So Ovechkin's a really good shooter when it comes to being able to create and being able to create not only individually but for his team. That's another big thing. He creates a lot for his team. That's a big reason why he's become and he's been a really good scorer because he can create individually, but he can also create for his team. So by having him on the ice, he's going to create shot volume. He's going to create shot impact. He's going to create, well, you could say Corsi and Fenwick, but those are basic numbers. He's going to create expected goals. He's going to create expected goals for. He's going to create XGF percentage higher when he's on the ice. higher than 50 per se. So higher than 50 with XGF is better. And as long as it's over 51-49, then it's better in terms of his favor. But in talking about his analytics, that's where he stands out the most is obviously goal scoring, less than playmaking. Most of his wins above replacement value, most of his value above a replacement level player is going to come from his goal scoring at even strength, his goal scoring on the power play, his power play point production, and his offensive production in general. And obviously last year, a little bit of a slighter dip in terms of that. But the years prior, he's been able to produce at an elite rate offensively. He's been able to contribute in many dynamic ways. And that's a big thing when it comes to his game. He's almost seemed to, especially in his 30s, age a little bit backwards in terms of how he's played. And a lot of that is unknowns in terms of what he's doing off the ice to be able to contribute to that lifestyle so that way he can sustain it and be able to play beyond 40. And it looks like he's going to play beyond 40 and possibly even beyond 42, 43 in the NHL. So it's really dependent on what he does off the ice to make sure that he's doing those things to contribute at a high level and be as efficient as he can in the latter stages of his career for Washington. And obviously, Washington's still in a place now where they're still trying to get the best years out of him, and they're still trying to find ways to get the most production that they can out of him because they built some and this offseason they made some really good moves that have sent a message to the rest of the team saying that they still want to compete, they still want to be in the playoffs, and they still want to go on a deeper run and still try and make it ever since they won the cup back in what was that 2018. So with Ovechkin, his ability and it's really hard to talk about anything else other than his goal scoring when it comes to his game because quite honestly, there's not really too much else to talk about because his goal scoring is so electric and it provides the most value of anything in this game, which is actually really impressive. If you have one really good thing and you've been able to adapt that one thing over the years of time in the NHL, ever since 2004 to now, which is 20 years plus, and different eras, different faster eras. How he's been able to adapt that one thing, that one shooting ability, his shot, his velocity, and still be able to sustain it now. That's really impressive when you really think about it and how he's been able to produce in so many different ways and do it consistently. Even when players know that they're going against him and they try to defend him, he still finds ways to score. He's going to be on a lot of pre-scouts. He's going to be scouted a ton, coached against a ton, and people are going to try to limit him and at the same time, he's still able to produce. He's still able to dominate in that one area. I find that remarkably impressive, even more than anything else. You could have a dual threat player who could be equally as impressive, but having one ability, one standout ability, and still being able to drive that and have that as a play driving element for over 20 years in the top professional hockey league in the world is remarkable. It's so hard to do. And it's going to be hard to replicate that and you see dominant performances from players like McDavid and Crosby and other players like that. And obviously Ovechkin, not necessarily in that same tier anymore. And he's not as well rounded per se. But at the same time, Ovechkin's still been able to promote himself as a top player in the game, being mainly reliant on his shooting ability. That just fascinates me more than anything else in terms of how he's able to generate offense, how he's able to create sustained offense.